So, I can't remember if I said this already this morning or not, but we had a chance to talk to our children this morning just for a minute before we left. And they wanted to know where we're going to be and what we're going to do. And well, we're on the Sea of Galilee. Our hotel's right on the Sea of Galilee. And well, we started talking about the things that happened there, and it would seem, in some ways, everything happened. We could probably come up with a half a dozen stories really quickly of the important things that happened on the lake. Whether it's the pigs taking the dive off the cliff, or Jesus walking on the water, or the catch of fish we already talked about. I think about the crowds that ran around the end of the lake. Wasn't really expecting that, sorry. When we got here and we saw the big storm that went on for hours and hours, I sort of wish that could have delayed a day, so we could have experienced that here. Maybe not quite right now at this very moment, but that would have made the impact even bigger. Storms on the lake happen. Apparently yesterday was a pretty good one. So it still happens quite a bit. Matthew, Mark, and Luke all record the story of Jesus calming the storm. Just I'll smile and nod for a second.
Praying, please.
Yeah.
So, Jesus has been teaching and needed the thing that at least this preacher does after every Sunday morning. Needed a break, a nap, a rest. So he took a boat with the apostles to the other side of the shore, which now that gives me a little bit different perspective. To go from one side to the other just to get away from the crowds is that's just not a quick cruise. The Bible says that not long after they set out, that Jesus fell asleep on a boat like the one that we just saw. Storm rose. We don't know how many of the disciples were on the boat with him, who they were, but at least 4 of the men were fishermen who had grown up on the water in boats. They'd seen storms. They bailed out boats before, and this was certainly not their first storm on the Sea of Galilee. But even they were afraid. I don't know how scary it would have to be for our crew here today to get a little concerned that maybe we might not make it back to the dock. But that's where these fishermen were. In Luke 8, it tells us that they were afraid that they were going to die. The waves were breaking into the boat. The boat was already filling with water. But Jesus was asleep on a cushion in the stern of the boat. Jesus is sleeping hard enough, deep enough, that they have to wake him up to let him know that they're all about to die. And his question is, where's your faith? Don't you have any faith? I'm in the boat with you. Why are you worried? Their lack of faith reminds us that even those people who lived with Jesus and walked with Jesus and saw Jesus and heard him and understood him, that they still found it very difficult to be totally full of faith all the time. Maybe you have been like that a time or two, where you've been with Jesus, you have listened to his words, you've spent time in worship, but even in those moments, you still find yourself not totally filled with faith. And Jesus asked, where's your faith? I'm right here. Don't you believe? They got rebuked for that, and I believe that Jesus would probably gently rebuke us as well when we have those moments where our faith is not 100% solid in the middle of whatever storms it is that we face. And you can fill in the blank with whatever is going on in your universe: family issues, health concerns, financial crises, and on and on and on. If you can deal with a storm that would rock this lake, you can probably handle the things that we face too. Even all the way to death. Now, I hadn't really thought much about this. I don't know why not, but when Jesus told the fellas, let's grab a boat and go to the other side, he absolutely knew what was going to happen in the middle of the lake. I hadn't really thought about that. But he knew that the weather was going to be just so. He was going to go to the middle of the lake. There was going to be a storm. And he told disciples to take off anyway. Jesus has told us that there is nothing that we will face that he is not present with us. What does he tell us about trouble in life?
We'll have it.
In this life you will have trouble, but I have overcome the world. He promises that he'll be with us, that he doesn't ever leave us alone. In the midst of the trials and storms and fires of life, he is right there with us. And when we are with him, we overcome. I suppose probably the thing that catches in my throat and in my mind right now is after 30 years of teaching and preaching and having this kind of idea about things, is that it's very real, and he's very human. To be in the place where he is, what a disaster. But he is very human and very real in this place. It's true all the time, everywhere. But to be in this spot, it's something very different. And certainly we get to sense his humanity there. A little irritation. He's been woke up in the middle of his nap. I get that one totally. For a storm that he wasn't concerned about, a storm that he had planned for the day, in a boat that he had seen a long time before. But we also get to see his divinity. There were no magic tricks. There was no technology involved. Just sitting up enough in the boat to look at the wind and the waves and to say, shh, enough. Be quiet, be still. Power. The disciples marveled at the power that Jesus displayed in that moment. Who is he? It's not the first time we've heard that